Namaste friends, this is Jayeshwar and we will discuss The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. This poem has been given in Beehive, that is NCERT textbook for English for class 9. Before we start discussing the poem, I would like to share a few things about poetry in general. So 2 points have been given on your screen. There is a title Poetry. 2 points have been given. First, multiple interpretations. Second, background helps but not essential. Now I'll explain these 2 points. When we say multiple interpretations, what we mean is that a poem may have multiple interpretations. It means it may have more than one meanings for particular stanza, particular a word or phrase, or for the whole poem. So you may come across various explanations from different sources. It doesn't always mean that only one of them is correct. Second is background helps but not essential. Now what we mean here by background is some poems have a background related to events in the life of the poet. So if you know the background, when the poem was written, why it was written, what was the specific time or the situation in the world at that time, okay, whether it's a poem related to World War or it is related to some major event in the history or the life of the poet. So if you have this knowledge, that will help you, but it is not essential or compulsory. The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost is one such autobiographical poem. However, without relating to the background, the reader can interpret a poem in his or her own way, keeping in mind the general norms. Because literature should be universal. So, without reference, also, literature should be conveying something for everyone. So, it's not compulsory, but if you have idea, it will be better for you to understand the poem in better way. So, let us discuss it. Now there are 2 points have been given on your screen. See, for introduction, 2 points have been given. First, this poem is about choices a person has to make in his or her life. So this insightful poem presents the state of dilemma of the poet when he had to make a difficult choice which shaped life. So the poet is in dilemma. There is a, in the second point there is a word dilemma. That's a key word here. Dilemma means a state of confusion when two unpleasant, equally unpleasant or unwelcome choices are there and a person has to select from these two. Okay, so there is an Indic word duvidha. Duvidha mein pad jana. So the basic the tatsam word is dvidha. Dvi means two, dha means ways. There are two ways and both are either equally good or equally bad. Mostly it is about when they are equally unpleasant. So that situation is called dilemma or state of quandary. So this poem is about choices a person has to make in his life. Now let's have a brief summary of the poem. Now summary itself means the brief explanation, but here it's a too brief, so I am calling it brief summary. First point, okay, the poet reaches the fork of the roads. So what happens in the poem is, in the first stanza, the poet, while traveling, he reaches there. So when the poem starts, the poet is found standing at the fork. Fork means the point where two roads diverge in different directions. He is in a quandary about his choices. Second point is, what happens then? He looks at these roads and he gets confused which road to be selected for walking on. Then he looks at the first road for long time. Now the long time suggests that he is confused and he is not able to decide. So his indecisiveness, his dilemma, his quandary, this has been mentioned. Then he takes into consideration the other road. So he looks at the first road first, then the second road, and he thinks about it. It is full of grass. It demands more travelers to walk on it. So both the roads are quite equal, but the only difference is the first road was walked by many travelers and the second road is full of grass. It means people have not walked on it. So this road is called the road not taken. Okay, so the title is based on the road which was not traveled by many travelers. Finally, he has made his choice. He chooses to walk on the less traveled road, the second road, which is the road not taken. Okay, and the last thing, his decision has changed his life completely. Now, whether this change is positive or negative, that we have to construe according to our understanding. Construe means we have to interpret or understand according to our interpretation of the poem. Okay, now as we have gone through the summary, if you have missed something, you can you go back and listen to it again, and then we will recite the poem. So it will be now, for you it will be easy to understand the poem a little better. Now this poem demands a little more attention, because it's not, I'm not saying that it's a difficult poem, but comparatively it needs a little more attention and thinking, because the poet has used symbols and metaphors. Okay, now in orange, the original poem, the text has been given. I am reading it, and you also read on your screen along with me in your mind. The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both, and be one traveler. Long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth, then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as for that the passing there had warned them really about the same, and both that morning equally lay in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverge in a wood, and I took the one less travelled by, and that has made all the difference. So, friends, this was its recitation, and I know many expressions and some phrases are not quite clear to you, but by discussion, we can try our best to make it clear. So, let's go stanza wise explanation. Stanza 1. Now, you know that as there are paragraphs in prose, for poetry, we call these paragraphs as stanzas. Okay, stanza first. 3 points are there mainly. The poet reaches the fork of the roads. He is in a quandary about his choices, and he looks at the first road for long time. Okay, so he reaches there, he is in confusion, in dilemma, and then he looks at the first road. Let us read the first stanza again. This repetition is necessary for understanding the poem better. Okay, so now we are taking a look at the first stanza only, given in orange. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both, and be one traveler. Long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. So this is it, the first stanza. See, one thing you observe here, see the first line, the first letter in this, there is a rule in writing and structure of a poem, that even if the sentence has not got over, when you change the line, the first letter has to be capital. Okay, so see the first line, two roads diverge in a yellow wood, it's just one line, but because of this technical things, and for the screen to fit in the screen, it has been divided into two lines, so actually it's a one line. Now see the next line, and sorry, so see, look at the word and in the second line, A is capital, even though it's not a new sentence. So this is the rule, you just keep in mind this thing, and when you want to understand any poem, read the full sentence. So we will try to read the full sentence here. Actually the whole stanza is full sentence. Okay, now let us explain what it wants to say. Now listen to it carefully. The poet reaches the fork of the roads, where two roads diverge in the autumn forest. Yellow wood is suggestive of autumn forest. As a traveler, he cannot travel both the roads, so he stands there for a long time and looks at one of them. Now, standing there for long, okay, look at the third line. Be one traveler, long I stood. So, the word long is suggestive of his indecisive state of mind, where he is not able to decide, or the state of mind where he is thinking or observing the road. Okay, this road takes, now this first road, this road takes turn near the undergrowth. Okay, see the last line, to where it bent in the undergrowth. So it's taking a turn near the undergrowth, means the bush is below the trees. The poet is in dilemma about his choices. So this is it. Now you see the alphabets A, B, A, B written in green. Okay, so it's about rhyming words and rhyming scheme. So let us see rhyming words. Now you know how to find rhyming words, so it would be kind of revision for you, very simple one. You have to look at the last word in the in every line. So the first in the first line the last word is would, and then the second it is both. Now for the you give a to would, and then you go to the second line, the last word is both. Now would, both, they don't rhyme with each other. You know how they rhyme, the sound, the vowel sounds in the last, they should be rhyming with each other, means they should be in coordination with each other. So both has been given b, letter b in green, because it doesn't rhyme with would. Now next line, the last word is stood. Stood rhymes with would, so it has been given a again, okay, because it is of the same family of rhyming words. Now then the last word in the next line is could. Though the spelling seems different from would and stood, but the pronunciation here, see, rhyming is all about listening to it properly, it's not about the spelling, okay. So could, stood, would, all these words rhyme with one another. So again the could has been given letter a. And the last line of this first stanza, to where it bend in the undergrowth. Undergrowth rhymes with both, both, undergrowth. As I told you, you have to look at the last sounds, okay, so don't look at the whole word undergrowth. So both, undergrowth. So both was given, I mean the word both was given b, so the word undergrowth also should be given b. Now you look at it vertically, a b a a b, but you have to write it. Now these were all rhyming words, so the rhyming scheme is a b a a b, and it is written horizontally. There are two ways you can write it. Look at the screen. Rhyming scheme is given a b a a b in small letters, or as given in bracket. It can be written in capital letters, but it should be written in uh, horizontal way. One more important thing, some people get confused, especially students. Rhyming words, rhyming scheme, these two things are different. Rhyming words are set of words. Look at the set 1 given in green. Okay, set 1, rhyming words, set 1, would, stood, could. So it's a group of word. Set 2, both, undergrowth. So we don't call it group, we call it pair, because there are two words. Generally there would be pairs, but if there are more than two words, we'll call it group. So we have two sets of rhyming words in the first stanza. That these are rhyming words, but the scheme will be indicated by alphabets a b b, etc. Okay, so this is it. I hope you understood. Now the glossary from the first. Some phrases and some words need to be explained a little more from the first stanza. A, fork, a place where a road or a river divides into two parts. So it is a point where two roads diverge in different directions. B, quandary or dilemma. So remember the spelling of dilemma, D-I-L-E-M-M-A. So L is not doubled, but letter M is doubled. Dilemma. It means confusion regarding the choices. C, yellow wood. Wood means forest. Yellow wood means the leaves have turned yellow. Leaves of the trees have turned yellow because of autumn season. So this is one of the interpretations. D, wood. Wood means forest in English language. E, long I stood. The poet stops there to take his decision about which road he should select. He is in the state of dilemma. So that's why long I stood. F, undergrowth. Low growth of vegetation like bushes or grass, etc. in the forest under the trees. That's called undergrowth. Okay. Now stanza 2. What happens in stanza 2? The poet then takes into consideration the other road. Now stanza 1 was about the first road. Now in the second stanza he takes a look at the second road and takes into consideration, means he thinks about it. It is full of grass and it demands more travelers to walk on it. So description of the second road also has been given. Let us read the second stanza. Then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as for that the passing there had warned them really about the same. Now the explanation of this stanza. See, the poet then takes into consideration the other road, which looks similar to the first one. Look at the last line, had warned them really about the same. So they were quite similar outwardly. Okay. Though both the roads are almost similar, the poet notices that the second road is full of grass and it demands more travelers to walk on it. It's full of grass. Look at the third line. It was grassy and wanted wear. Grassy means it was full of grass. It means many people have not walked on it. And wanted wear. Wearing means what? Something when it is used, worn and torn. So wearing means used up. So it was not used much. And see the second line, last two words, having perhaps the better claim, it demanded more travelers to walk on it. Okay, rhyme scheme is same as the first stanza. Glossary, better claim here means the grass on the road indicates that this road is less traveled by. Wanted wear means wants to be used, to be walked upon. Again, in wanted wear, alliteration is there because were sound has been repeated. Wanted wear, so it's a figure of speech called alliteration, where a consonant sound is repeated. Okay, so we will stop here for today. In next presentation I will explain the remaining stanzas. Thank you very much.